President Nicolás Maduro promised to repatriate the migrants currently held in concentration camps in El Salvador. The Chinese government accused the United States of interfering in Venezuela's internal affairs, urging it to stop abusing the imposition of illegal sanctions. And representatives of the United States and Russia agreed in the city of Riyadh to ensure safe navigation in the Black Sea. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from teleSUR studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. During the grandparents of the Homeland Center inauguration, President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, reaffirmed his pledge to the Venezuelan people to repatriate the migrants who were abducted from concentration camps in El Salvador. The head of state, Nicolás Maduro, pointed out during the event that they are already pursuing legal action against the Salvadoran government and that a habeas corpus appeal was filed demanding the release of the Venezuelan migrants who were kidnapped by the U.S. and held in concentration camps in El Salvador. For his part, the Venezuelan leader pointed out that the actions of the United States against Venezuelan migrants are a violation of human rights and demanded respect for the same. In this regard, President Maduro pointed out that the bands of coyotes were controlled by the U.S. by leaders of the Venezuelan far right.
Y nuestro mensaje siempre ha sido, vamos a tener relaciones de respeto, de cooperación, de comunicación.
And our message has always been, we are going to have respectful relations, cooperation, communication. But there, they decided to attack the whole world.
Impuso un plan de agresión primero a los migrantes que los están persiguiendo.
And the fascist extreme right here imposed a plan of aggression, first on the migrants, who are being persecuted, detained, disappearing. We have 238 missing migrants, kidnapped in the United States and delivered to a Nazi concentration camp in El Salvador. We are there doing all the legal actions. A group of lawyers brought in a resource from habeas corpus in front of the Court of Justice in El Salvador. In the United States, groups of migrants are doing legal actions, but they are being persecuted. Where they appear, they are captured, humiliated, kicked, kidnapped. I will continue to advocate, determined and persevering as I am, to rescue, kidnap and free all Venezuelans who are in prison in the United States and the boys in El Salvador.
Que están presos en los Estados Unidos y a los muchachos del Salvador.
The President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, demanded respect for Venezuelan migrants after the human rights violations of the United States government.
Porque están separando la familia.
Because they are separating the family, and they are giving us only men.
No, los separan.
No, they are separating them.
Se metieron en la casa.
They went to a city, got into the house, hit the boy, handcuffed him, hit his head in front of his two younger sons and his wife. They put a cricket on his wife, who is pregnant, and they won't let her leave her house. I demand from the U.S. government the respect for the human rights of Venezuelan migrants, who are noble and good people.
Also, the Venezuelan president pointed out that the coyotes band are led by the far right in the U.S. and Venezuela.
The
coyotes, the band of coyotes from Venezuela, was led by, in the United States, Carlos Vecchio, Carlos Paparoni. Write down the names.
Carlos Vecchio, Carlos Paparoni, Miguel Pizarro,
Carlos Vecchio, Carlos Paparoni, Miguel Pizarro, David Smolinski, pure jewel of the fascist jeweler. In addition, Leopoldo Lopez, Maria Machado from here, Julio Borges, among others, and then they coordinated everything. Now they had a lot of power in the United States. Because suddenly a boy, Pedro, from a neighborhood, sold his motorcycle, sold everything. He paid $5,000, and they took him from Petare to Darien, and in 5 weeks he was in New York.
Also in Venezuela, thousands of citizens marched through the streets of Caracas in support of the Venezuelan migrants taken under arrest to El Salvador by Donald Trump's administration. The mobilization took place in rejection of the kidnapping committed by the neo-fascist governments of Nayib Bukele and Trump against Venezuelan migrants without trial or respect for their human rights. Venezuelan authorities explained that the marches are a response to those who want to mistreat Venezuelans in the world. Also, at the same time of this activity, in all the Bolivar squares of the country, the collection of signatures in support of their prompt release continued.
No, I'm Gabriel Rodriguez's aunt. He has been detained in Guantanamo since Wednesday when he called us saying they were going to take him to Mexico, and they took him to Guantanamo and he told us he is there. They only took 22 boys. They're the only ones there, and the President of the United States never said they had taken those boys there. They're finding out right now here in Venezuela that those children are in Guantanamo.
In this regard, relatives of migrants reiterated their confidence in the actions taken by President Nicolás Maduro to bring back to the country the young Venezuelans kidnapped by Trump and Bukele.
But I trust in my President Maduro, and I know that he will help us get our boys here, those in El Salvador, those in Texas, and those in Guantanamo. I know that the President and I know that Diosdado Cabello will help us bring all those boys back home.
And representatives of the Venezuelan community in Colombia denounced the fact that the embassy of El Salvador refused to receive a statement condemning the criminalization of their nationals kidnapped by the government of Nayib Bukele.
Let the international community know, let the scattered migrants know, the Venezuelan migrants that are scattered around the world, the foreign migrants that are scattered in all parts of the world, know that today, the Embassy of El Salvador here in Colombia refused to open the doors for us to deliver a statement, a communique, a missive, a letter to the Ambassador Dr. Sandra Alejandrina Morales de Duque. We insisted several times with the security personnel. She said that there is no official here, which is totally false because we can see from the windows that there are embassy personnel working here. They did not want to attend to us. We insisted, and she did not want to open the letter to receive this communication in order to give us the copy as received. Therefore today we are going to deliver the letter in this mailbox here, but not before reading to you the communication that a small community like us Venezuelan migrants representing the Venezuelans here in Colombia want to deliver to you.
Meanwhile, in El Salvador, trade union organizations mobilized in solidarity with the families of kidnapped Venezuelan migrants, condemning President Nayib Bukele's actions. Salvadoran political and social groups and popular collectives rejected the U.S. government's criminalization of the 238 kidnapped Venezuelan migrants. Union leaders denounced that President Bukele kidnapped the Venezuelan migrants in exchange for financial retribution from the U.S. administration. In turn, the unions denounced that the Center for the Confinement of Terrorists, SECOT, is in fact a center for the confinement, torture, murder of detainees. The people of Honduras also expressed their solidarity with Venezuela after the criminalization and illegal imprisonment of its migrants. A group of people gathered in Tegucigalpa expressed all their support for the kidnapped Venezuelans in El Salvador who are being criminalized by the United States. Representatives of various social movements attended the meeting with banners in which they denounced that migrating is not a crime and that those in prison have not committed any crime. The Venezuelan ambassador in Honduras, Margaut Godoy, accompanied the demonstration and thanked the support of the Hondurans.
Today, March 25th, a worldwide day of condemnation and denunciation has been promoted, but above all in solidarity with the Venezuelan people and government, Venezuelan migrants and Honduras could not be left behind. I want to recognize that history and that shared struggle, that resistance and that victory that today has allowed us to embrace again. And thank you for the solidarity that you have expressed today. The call has been made by the Anti-Fascist International Honduras chapter, but the Honduras-Venezuela Friendship Association and different organizations and souls, hearts that in the peoples of the world are attentive to what is happening have joined us.
Now we have our first break coming up. First, remember to join us on our TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Brazil's Supreme Federal Court opened session to decide on the indictment of former President Jair Bolsonaro and 7 others implicated in the January 8, 2023 coup d'etat against institutional headquarters. The magistrates of the first chamber of the Brazilian court analyzed the indictment against Bolsonaro and those implicated, which includes affiliation to a criminal organization, attempted coup d'etat, and abolition of the democratic rule of law. The sentences add up to 43 years in prison. The evidence includes telegram messages in which Bolsonaro instructed supporters and military personnel to reject the election, as well as documents linking his close circle to plans to declare a state of emergency. The magistrates will also decide on the members of the so-called crucial group, which according to the prosecution included 6 military personnel and a police officer who were ministers or high-ranking members of the armed forces. And Argentina's customs staff union, Supara, started a 48-hour strike to demand labor improvements. The strike began with a total blackout of the computers in the offices, a measure that will continue until Wednesday, March 26. The commission added that the protest is being carried out after the government's failure to listen to workers who seek salary adjustments and the solution of problems affecting the sector. They also warned that if there are no answers to their demands from the government, they will extend the strike until their demands are met. And on Tuesday, the Chinese government accused the United States of interfering in Venezuela's internal affairs, urging it to stop abusing the imposition of illegal sanctions. Precisely during the press conference of the office, the spokesman of China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Guo Yakun, rejected the so-called long-arm jurisdiction after Washington announced tariffs of up to 25% on imports from countries that buy oil and gas from Caracas. The diplomat added that the United States is seriously interfering in the internal affairs of other countries and assured that China is firmly opposed and reminded Washington that the imposition of tariffs will only cause greater losses for U.S. companies and consumers. And in Saudi Arabia, representatives of the United States and Russia agreed in the city of Riyadh to ensure safe navigation in the Black Sea. U.S. officials confirmed that in recent talks between the U.S. and Ukrainian delegations, a series of measures were discussed to prohibit attacks on energy facilities, both Russians and Ukrainian. It was also confirmed that Washington and Moscow will join efforts to achieve lasting peace and prevent attacks against commercial ships for military purposes in the Black Sea. The United States also made a commitment with Russia to reactivate and improve access to ports and financial payment systems in the global market. And the Kremlin issued a statement on the talks held in the city of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, in which they confirmed the information issued by the White House. Moscow assured that commercial vessels in the Black Sea should not be used for military purposes and that sanctions against Russia should be lifted and the Russian financial system be reconnected to the SWIFT system. At the same time, Moscow emphasized that if the conditions of sanctions, reduction, and respect for the ceasefire agreement against energy structures are not fulfilled, the grain agreement will not be able to enter into force. And now we have our second and final short break. Remember to join us on our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break. We're going to be right back. Welcome back. In Lebanon, the Hezbollah resistance movement ensured not to allow the normalization of relations with the Israeli regime under the pretext of reconstructing the country, as the United States had urged to make it happen. The deputy head of the political council of the Hezbollah movement, Mahmoud Kamati, stood out 3 main issues. First, his country must be liberated from the Israeli occupation forces, prisoners must be released, and the 13-point file with the enemy must be closed. The authority further pointed out that as long as the Lebanese soil be exposed to the Zionist regime's challenge, the aggressions would not stop. Hezbollah and the people are committed to resistance as it is considered a fundamental pillar in the defense of the territory. Likewise, the movement rejected the presence of occupation troops, the violation of both the ceasefire and the deadline for withdrawing from the occupied territories. And in this context, and following Sunday's attacks on the Nasser hospital, the UN calls for no damage to medical facilities as Israeli attacks in Gaza intensify. In this regard, the UN spokesperson explained that the organization's staff continues to receive reports of attacks on medical facilities ambulances, and medical personnel in Gaza, who have described it as horrific. It is important to note that Israel's attacks on hospitals have been part of its genocide from the beginning, affecting the entire healthcare system and paralyzing it almost entirely. An Oscar-winning Palestinian director, Hamdan Balal, was released by Israeli authorities after being held captive following an attack by settlers on Monday. From a medical facility in the occupied West Bank, where he was being treated for his injuries, Hamdan described the incident.
This is first time, okay? They came, the soldiers, with the settlers attacking me and beating me and destroyed me. This is first time, and this is came like first I got it the Oscar. So this is it's like let you it's like think why they attacking you like this. It's like hard attack after the Oscar. In the beginning, yes, there's attack, but not like this. I don't know what I'm feeling now, but that's my home. So if I scared, I afraid. Yes, maybe this is feelings. Especially about my family, about my kids. But anyway, I went back to my home because this is my home.
And this Tuesday, the International Network Monitoring Service, NetBlocks, reported a massive internet outage affecting the entire country of Syria. In a message published on X, the monitoring platform pointed out that real-time network data showed the interruption of the service at national level, affecting telecommunications in several cities of the country. This digital blackout comes in the midst of fresh airstrikes by the Israeli army against military bases in Syria. NetBlocks have confirmed the scale of the outage, although no details have yet been provided as to its cause. This contingency adds to the tensions and the intense information blockade maintained by the de facto government, which is led by former members of the Al-Qaeda terrorist group. Ecuador's National Risk Management Secretariat reported the death of at least 20 people as a result of heavy rains in the last 24 hours. Authority also indicated that since the beginning of the 2025, the country has faced more than 2,000 adverse events, which affected 23 provinces of the country due to the winter season. Likewise, 98 people were injured, 18,685 people were affected, and more than 33,000 homes were affected, of which 150 were destroyed. Given this, the Ecuadorian government maintains the regional state of emergency for 60 days, as well as red, orange, and yellow alerts according to the magnitude of risk in each province. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on our social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.